Hello, welcome to day 6. Today we're picking up with a lot of things that we started yesterday. Make sure that you grab your workbook through the link below and let's get to it. We're continuing with our C major scale, and today we're going to add a couple new layers to what we're doing. So first, I want you to be saying your finger numbers while you play. By saying the finger numbers, it's going to help you soak it up more quickly so that you can play automatically much more quickly. The other thing that I want you to do is I want you to play around with doing it staccato, which we learned a few days ago, and legato. Because the more ways that we practice our scales, A, the more interesting it is, and B, the more we're developing our technique and we're preparing ourselves to use these things in any piece that we might ever learn. So for today, I will show you the right hand staccato and the left hand legato. You're welcome to play along with me as always, or watch and then play along after. And I'll be saying the finger numbers the whole time. So let's jump right in. Right hand, 1 on C, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. And then with the left hand, nice and legato. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do have something brand new today as well. Until now, we've really been focusing on reading music and identifying the keys on the piano. You're getting better and better with that. We've had 5 whole days of practicing together to really get those down. Of course, that's a lifetime journey, especially the reading. But something that's also really important to develop is our oral skills, being able to play a bit by ear. And some people seem to think that either you read music really well or you play by ear really well. When in reality, when we develop those skills, both from the very beginning, they can really support each other. So when you see music on a page, you know how it's supposed to sound. And when you hear music, you can also kind of start to imagine how it's going to look on the page. These can really work hand in hand. They don't have to be conflicting abilities. It's just when we get really good at one that we get really frustrated with the other, because if you read really well, then you might have some resistance to playing by ear because all of a sudden you don't have these notes that you've been so good at reading. Or you've developed your ability to play by ear really well, and then all of a sudden you freak out when somebody puts music in front of you. And we don't want either of those. We want to be able to really master both skills, and we're starting here in day 6 with playing by ear, so you're going to be absolutely fine. You're learning this incredibly early, and you're going to thrive with both skills. That said, just like reading, we're going to start incredibly small. So today we're learning Mary Had a Little Lamb. Very simple melody. It's just 3 notes. We're going to play the simplest form. There are a few forms where it maybe jumps around a little bit more, but we're doing the version that just has 3 notes. And there are a few things to keep in mind when you're learning by ear. For starters, you need to know kind of which key you're playing in. There are a few rules that you can use to guide you on this. For starters, I'm going to be telling you which note we're starting on, and then you're going to learn it alongside me. The other thing is you always want to have the melody really clearly in your ear, which means that you probably need to be singing it or humming it as you're playing. Or you sing and then you play, you sing and then you play, and whenever something doesn't sound quite right, that's when you need to go back and compare. The final thing is just really basic. We always want to keep track of, just like when we're reading, if we're going up, down, or repeating. And if you have those 3 things really clearly in your ear, for now we're only stepping, so we don't need to worry about how far the notes are moving. Just focus on up, down, or sing. So I'm terribly sorry. I will have to sing this once for you so that we all have the melody in ear. Of course you know the song. I just want to show you how I approach learning by ear. So I will tell you that we're starting on E, also so that I'm singing in the right key, I need to play the E. And our song is, Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow. Straightforward. 3 notes, only going up, down, or repeating. So let's go kind of chunk by chunk. Mary had a little lamb. So you can kind of imagine that we're starting on E, and then it goes down, back up, and then repeats. Mary had a little lamb. Then we have little lamb. That's not the same note anymore. And we know it's just stepping, so little lamb. Then we have little lamb. Again, a different note. And we can check. Does it go down? Little lamb, no. So that means it goes up. Little lamb. And then we have the opening figure exactly the same as before. Mary had a little lamb. So we just repeat that. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. And that's also something you can do. You can try to sing and kind of use your hand to guide which way you think it's going. Its fleece was white as snow. And if you made any mistakes, that's fine. That's even better. Maybe you weren't always sure if it was going up or down, and that's great because that shows you what you need to be listening for. If you're not sure which direction it's moving, then you can just kind of tune into that as you're listening, as you're singing, and you're going to start finding that more intuitively every single time. It's time for some more rhythm drills. We're working again on 8th notes. We really want to get this down so that we never need to be scared of 8th notes or any rhythm. Today's exercises are both in 4/4 time, and let's just get right to it. As always, I'll count us in with 1 measure, and then we'll start clapping together right away. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we have similar patterns that are mixed up a little bit. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's time to put our lead hands together. So I always recommend reviewing the hands separately before you put it together. And we're just going to walk through that together now. So we're going to go line for line. We're always breaking our pieces up into chunks. And we're starting with just the first row. We're going to do the right hand ones, the left hand ones, and then we're going to put it together. So we learned the notes yesterday. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on fingering our notes. We're just going to review. I'll count us in. You can play along with me. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I do advise counting. I always recommend counting. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing with the left hand. I'm going to count us in. I'm going to count all the way through. And then after that, we'll put the hands together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You maybe noticed the right hand has several rhythms that are going on, but hands together, the left hand is only ever starting on the first beat. So that means whenever we have 1, the left hand is going to be playing, and those are the points where you need to focus on coordination. Let's go a little bit slower, and I'm going to talk you through the hands together this time. So the hands start together. The left hand plays C with the 5th finger, the right hand starts with 1 on G, and then we're going to be immediately going to C with the 3rd finger. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now they come back together, 2nd finger and the left hand, 4th finger and the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Together again. First finger in the left, third finger in the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then both hands have C, but we're in very different finger positions. So the left hand jumps down and the right hand is stepping. 1, 2, 3, 4. And often it will probably look like that the first time you put hands together. That your rhythm, you're thinking about it, but it kind of goes out the window because of the coordination. That's absolutely fine. As long as you know your rhythms, as long as you're still thinking rhythmically, it's perfectly fine that we get distracted by other elements and then we bring the rhythm back in later on. So practice that a couple times on your own now. And then when you're ready, let's try and keep it really steady together without any breaks, playing hands together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't need to practice the second row because it's exactly like the first, so you're good to go there. I would recommend maybe hitting pause and playing those 2 rows back to back, just because it is a little bit different to play straight through. And then meet me back here and we're going to continue with the third row. Now we're moving on to the third row. So let's do the right hand once on its own and the left hand once on its own. The right hand starting on E, half the line is E anyway. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the left hand, again, just whole notes the whole time, starting on C. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a jump back to C. 2, 3, 4. And then let's put that hands together. So now we have the 5th finger on C, 3rd finger on E down here by middle C. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, 4. And then only the left hand changes. The right hand stays on the same note. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Left hand steps up. The right hand is still playing E. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right hand goes back to E. Left hand goes back to C. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would like to note that the first notes, when the ones that come together in the third measure, it sounds a little bit crunchy. That is correct. Don't let it scare you. It resolves after that first note. It's just that initial moment that it's kind of this, whoop, what was that? Now let's just go ahead and play the 3rd row and the 4th row together, because in the 4th row, the hands aren't actually playing together anymore. The left hand moves up and is going to take over the melody and then play until the end. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Congratulations, that's your first piece that you played hands together. That's such a huge accomplishment, and that's just on day 6 of a piano from scratch challenge, so good for you. It's time for another reading quiz. We're going to cover notes that we've already learned, we're going to cover intervals that we've already learned, and then at the very end, we're going to start one brand new interval. So until now, we've learned seconds, thirds, and fourths, and then at the end of this section, we're going to start with some fifths, which we're also going to need for happy birthday. For this first one, you've already had a chance to look at it, and we have, here is middle C, it's the F right below that, F, G, and we gonna go a little bit faster today than we have been going. C, G, fourth, G, B, third, G, E, third, B, F, fourth, C, B, second, F, C, fourth, G, F, second, D, F, third, D, A, fourth, E, F, second, F, A, third. Now we have our fifths. So like it sounds, it's one note farther apart than our fourths. And we've talked about this before, that even intervals are one space and one line. Odd intervals are two spaces or two lines. And we see that here. So our fifths on this first slide, we have A. We're not so familiar with that note yet, but it's just for the purpose of the exercise. And actually, let's use that. So the top note is E. And then if we know that it's a fifth, we have E, that's our first note, second, third, fourth, fifth. And then even though we've never played this A before, we're able to find it because we know our intervals and we have one note that we can find out that we know already really well. And from there, we're able to play both, even though we don't necessarily know both notes really consciously. And then from there, we can see that the other notes are just sliding up one every time. So we have A and E, B and F, C and G, D and A. And then this is just how some of those look in the treble clef as well. It's also useful to start memorizing the notes that combine to make an interval. So D up a fifth is A, which means that E and B make a fifth, F up to C is a fifth, and G up to D is a fifth. And as always, we can combine those with our landmark notes to find our way around a little bit better. So we have our landmark note F, and then if we count down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that takes us to B. When we know our intervals really well, then we don't have to count these anymore either. So it's also good to start memorizing these pairs. B up to F is a fifth. F up to C is a fifth. And here you can see how these central landmark notes that we've had until now are really evenly spaced, because F up to C is a fifth. Those are both landmark notes. And here we also have C up to G, also both landmark notes, also a fifth. And then from our final landmark note, if we go up 5, we have G is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up a fifth is D. We are going to start seeing these a lot, especially in the left-hand part for our pieces. So do spend a little extra time on these. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like some flashcards, or send me an email, robin@pianowithrobin.com, and I'll get some flashcards for the intervals for you. Yesterday I told you that we're going to be doing the melody to Happy Birthday a little bit different than we learned it. You're going to be fine. The notes are the same. We're just changing the octave and we're moving everything into the right hand. And then the left hand is going to be starting its own part for this today. So we know the notes from yesterday. We can review it maybe once like we played it yesterday. I'll just show you once really quickly. Then we're moving all of that up one octave. It's going to look a little bit different in your sheet music, but the notes you know already, so don't let it throw you off. We're starting now with the first finger on G, and we're going to go through chunk by chunk just like we did yesterday. So we're going to start with Happy Birthday to you, and that's it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Pretty straightforward. Then the next chunk, the next Happy Birthday to you, we still can stay in this position. So 1 on G, 2 on A, 3 on B, 4 on C, 5 on G, on D. Ready, go. Now let's put those two chunks together. Ready, go. And here's where we have some changes creeping in. So the right hand still starts with the thumb, and then we have an octave jump, all with one hand. You can stretch over with the fifth finger to the next G, or you just play the first two with the thumb and you hop over with the fifth finger. That's probably how I would do it. Then from the G, we skip down twice, and then we cross over like we've had in our scale. Let's go nice and slow. We're just gonna do the happy dun dun dun. Maybe let's do first just the octave jump and then the 2/3 down. So E, E, C. Ready, go. Do that a couple more times if you need to. This time, after we play the C, we're going to cross over with the third finger to play B, A, and that's where our fermata is. So let's put all of that together. Ready, go. Then this A is really long. You can hold it as long as you want. Then we're going to jump over with the fourth finger to F, and we have F, F, E, C, D, C, which we actually learned just with the right hand, so that shouldn't be problematic either. Now let's put all of that together from the very beginning. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Bravo! Today in our reading section we learned about fifths, and here you immediately get a chance to use those. So the left hand is starting with the fifth finger on C and with the thumb on G, and we just play that for 3 whole beats. And this is also the first time that we've had multiple notes in one hand at the same time, but the fingering makes it really comfortable to play. So it's just 1 and 5, and you hold it for 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. Then after that, you might notice the G stays the same, but the bottom note is different. The bottom note slides down 1, which means that our fifth finger has to hop over to B, and we hold that for 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. That repeats exactly like we had it. 1, 2, 3. And then the fifth finger slides back to C. 2, 3. Then that repeats. 1, 2, 3. For the next measure, the C stays the same, and this time it's the thumb's turn to slide over. So the thumb goes up 1 to A. We play those together. 1, 2, 3. And this you're going to end up holding longer because the right hand has a fermata, which means that the left hand has to wait for it. The left hand doesn't get to continue on its own. We go back to our fifth that we started with, C and G, for 2 beats. Then we have a really quick change here. We have a chord that we've never seen before. It's actually just this thing that we had before, that the fifth finger slides over to B. And then on top of that, we're adding an F with our second finger. If that's remotely uncomfortable, do give it a few tries. I know it's brand new, but it does kind of fit nicely under the fingers. Give it a few tries. If it feels really, really, really uncomfortable after you've tried doing it several times, then you have 2 options. You can either play just G and F together. The ending like that would look like this. We have our fifth, our C and G. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Hold because of the fermata. Or you can leave out the F and just play the pattern that we had before. So B and G, and then back to C and G. So I'll show you how that looks also. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Both are valid, or if you want to do it exactly like it's written on the page, then it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. practice both of those hands a couple more times before you finish up today, or tomorrow before you start back, or you could do both. I would recommend doing both. Do a little bit extra practice here, do a little extra practice before you start tomorrow's lesson, and then tomorrow we're going to start putting things hands together there nice and slow. But you've already had experience with that, so it's nothing too new or scary. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad you're embarking on this journey with me, and meet me back here tomorrow to wrap up the first week of this 2-week challenge. Until then, happy practicing.